Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 99. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, a newly returned Apex legend, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How are you doing, man? It's been what, 3 weeks since we recorded last, I'd say.
It feels like a year.
As you guys know, we didn't miss any episodes, but we back, we recorded them in advance so that Montrell and I could kind of take a couple weeks off from doing the show. And I will be honest with you, it was very refreshing to not have to worry about this podcast for 2 weeks.
It was, but in my opinion, like coming back and looking for news was hard. I don't know if it was just because of the time frame we're
Yeah.
in, where like news is slow.
Mhm.
So that's just my thing. I was trying
Well,
to look for news, and I'm like, nothing really fucking happened.
true. We have some news here lined up, but nothing crazy big. But it's funny though. Like we've pretty much never taken a week off in terms of recording, and frankly, in the last year and a half, I'd say we legitimately have not taken a week off from recording. The last time we did a reflections before this week was that one that we like pre-recorded was like last summer, like 2019 summer. So yeah, we've been recording every week since then. So yeah, it was kind of nice to have a break. But yeah, coming back and making the doc today, I was kind of like fuck, I'm like I'm out of practice. It's like I just like wasn't on my game. I felt like, but here we are. We're back, guys, and we're gonna talk about news. So for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice, Montrell. Now, it's been 3 weeks. Has anything happened in your life that you want to talk about? Did you have a nice Christmas? Did you have a nice New Year's? Did you get nice and
uh,
drunk?
I did get drunk, but nothing really. I mean, I moved Silas out to the room now. His ringworm is gone. So I don't
Wait,
know
he
if
had
I
a
told you.
ringworm? What?
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah. I
know
thought
that.
I thought I told you about that. Yeah, he
No.
had a ringworm.
Montrell, you barely talked to me over this 3 weeks. It's like we weren't even friends. Like if we didn't do this podcast, I don't know how much I'd hear from
I
you.
didn't talk to anybody,
I
man.
know,
That's
I
how
know.
like
I'm just fucking with you.
I was on Twitter fucking around, and that was probably about it. And half the time, I just didn't really fucking care about Twitter either. So it was
Yeah.
like I was just doing nothing. But yeah, he did have ringworm. Uh, when we first got him, actually. So I took him to the doctor. They told us what to do. We separated him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I start giving him his medicine, and um, here we are. He's okay, and now he's out there with Deli, and Deli is not. She knows of him now.
She's
So
aware
I
of his
have,
presence.
yeah, she's aware of his presence. But like I said, I had him separated because I had to put him back in the cage. Just because like ringworm was fucking crazy. I didn't know how bad it was. Like I was a little kid. I got ringworm when I was little, but I didn't know how like easily it can spread everywhere.
Mm.
So like I had to like just keep him. I bought a huge cage, but I didn't let him like roam around in our room or anything like that because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want spores to get everywhere.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean he's cool now, but occasionally like on the weekends I'll let him out into my game room and then I'll
Yeah.
just sanitize my game room really well.
Yeah.
But I'll let him do that, and like he'll be like Deli will come to the door and sniff, and they're like trying to fuck with each other under the door and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know how cats do that.
Yeah.
But now that I let him out, she knows of him. She's used to his smell. Um, but she's like still used to her being her. So like
Mm-hmm.
she's not used to like a kitten. This is like a 17-year-old, right? Like a 17-year-old child and like a little 2-year-old
Yeah.
kid running around, right? So she's just like, why are you everywhere? He's like he has so much energy, it's fucking ridiculous.
Hey man, he's
And
cute, man. I hear him on
he
the
is.
mic. I hear him on the mic sometimes, and I just hear him purring in the background, and then like doing that like purr meow where he's like his voice doesn't even work anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I had to separate him a couple of times because she like hissed at him. I never heard her hiss before,
Mm.
but she hissed at him a couple of times. So when she does that, they say like, I only keep them out with each other for a couple hours, and then when everyone, for maybe about 2 or 3 hours, and then I put them back in my room or whatever. And then I let them come out again just for a couple hours, and
Yeah.
I'm doing that for the next couple of weeks, for the next probably 2 or 3 months until she knows that this is not her territory. This is our territory. And
Yeah. Right.
but that's pretty much what I've been battling for the last month. Is that,
Yeah.
and I am tired. So, but love them dearly. But whew, if you go get two cats, make sure you get them both at the same time so they know.
Yeah. Yeah, we've thought about it, but we still haven't pulled the trigger. But yeah, me, not much going on, man. I just kind of relaxed, spent some time with my wife, with my family, a little bit over the Christmas break, and played some video games. So, you know, not a lot happening. Okay, well, we got the bullshit out of the way. Quick, let's get into what we've been playing. Montrell, I mean, there's been a lot of time between last episode and this one. So what the fuck have you been playing, man?
When I say I took a break, I took a break. I was not playing. I was playing League of Legends with my friends, and then I
Yeah.
just started playing Apex Legends.
Is
I
that it?
took a
Is that
break.
literally it? You were
That's
playing
literally
okay, hold on. You were playing Cyberpunk for a period of time.
I was, and then I just put it down, and I can't explain to you why. It's not that the
Okay.
game's bad,
Okay.
anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just I um I got to one part. Okay, so Cyberpunk is weird. Um, so like the first 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours. I should put that on there too. I'm sorry, but yeah, Cyberpunk is weird. So the first 2 to 4 hours, I was playing it. You get to the first act and everything of that nature. Um, so I think the first act is around 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it feels like this is going to be the game. That's what the game actually feels like. Some shit happens, and the actual game starts. Like the game opens up, and I
Mhm.
think I got overwhelmed by that, and I just put the controller down.
You were like, too many icons. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to jump back into it. This is the same thing that happened to me with The Witcher.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I think The Witcher kind of just. I will say Cyberpunk did a very better job of easing you into it because The Witcher, I believe, it just kind of threw you into the fray after the first mission, after the first hunt you
Well,
do.
they had an intro area that was like, it took maybe 3 or 4 hours to clear. It was
Yeah,
pretty small. And then they just dump you in the middle of the open world and are like, have fun,
yeah,
and it's cool, but you're right about the overwhelmingness. The only thing The Witcher 3 does that isn't doesn't make it worse is that they don't put all the icons on the map right away. You have to go to a town and like look at the notice
yeah,
board, and then the icons fill in around the area you're in.
yeah.
So, that would have made it
Um,
way worse.
yeah. So like this game, it kind of does just put the icons on the map. What's weird is you already kind of explored, I'll say, a good majority of Night City.
Yeah.
Um, when you're doing the first act.
Okay.
So you're doing missions and stuff like that, and it seems like this is going to be the general flow of the game. You can do a couple of side missions here and there, but not too many. But you're just doing the main missions. And then Act Two opens up, and it's like the feel of the game. Actually, I'll give them to their credit. It feels completely different from the first act. The way your character motivations and what you have to do, because you get this one mission that you don't have to do. It's a side mission, but I did it because it took me around the entire city.
Hmm.
And as you're going to different cities, like different bosses of those I say bosses, but like think of like gang bosses or mafia bosses or whatever. Different like faction leaders call you who controls that area. They're like, "Hey, I heard you were doing this. If you need
Hmm.
anything, you can call me." Or, "Hey, I heard that you can do this. You need anything, you can call me," or whatever the fuck. So they call you and stuff like that, and yeah, then missions just start opening up, and you can do side missions. You can different NPCs, quest lines open up, and you can talk. Some people you can actually talk to on the street, um, and things like that. Uh, but the game is still. I'm playing it on PC, so I haven't really encountered any real bugs outside that one bug I sent you a picture of.
Hmm.
I actually did encounter two bugs. I'm sorry. It was one side mission I had to do where I kind of got through the dialogue a little bit too fast, and the lady was kind of stuck in that dialogue animation, and I had to reload the mission. Um, And
Yeah.
then the other one was when I first walked to a nightclub and I saw the lady dancing in T pose, and that shit was fucking hilarious. I couldn't record it, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened. But besides that, I haven't personally ran into any glitches. I don't like the wanted system from the police. I fucking hate it. You had to drive perfect because you make a mistake and hit the citizen. Somehow, I hit a citizen like out in the desert, some shit like that. Somehow, someone saw me and the police was like right there, and I'm like, bro, I'm in the
Yeah.
middle of the
Well,
fucking
it's
desert.
yeah, I mean, that was a common complaint that I remember was the
Yeah,
cops just appear, like, near
yeah,
you if you get wanted or whatever.
yeah, and it's I mean, you can easily evade them. Like if you run for a couple like minutes, even if you have like 5 stars. I think I haven't got 5 stars, but I had 3 stars, and that's just because I'm the driving kind of sucks.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just been mistakenly hitting citizens, so it's like I've been trying to drive and I hit somebody, and then like I get 1 or 2 stars depending on how many people in that crowd I hit or whatever the fuck, because they like bunch up in the corners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and there's no automatic like drive. Not unless they didn't give it to me yet. I like how Roach you can hold the button and he'll like go along the path.
The
There
auto running.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, there really isn't any like auto driving functionality, and I wish they really had that because while the car is driving, I can do a lot of other side stuff and like organize my, inventory or check out text messages I get and everything of that nature. That would have been a cool addition to add. Maybe they'll add that later. I'm pretty sure people have been complaining about that. If not, they need to do something like that.
Mhm.
But besides that, the game is okay. I will say I was harping on the combat. The combat is man, I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. I'm so glad I got this fucking podcast. The combat
Yeah.
is one of those combats
Mhm.
where if you watch someone play it, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But if you play it, it
Okay.
feels good. That's
Yeah.
what the combat is.
Okay.
It's not Destiny because Destiny looks and feels good.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games where you got to actually play it, like, and you'll be like, oh, I see where they're going out. Um, I see where they're going with this. Um, and yeah, so I did harp on the combat a lot. I'm sorry, I got a text message. I did harp on the combat a lot, but it actually feels pretty good. The gunplay feels really good.
Mhm.
Um, as I'm looking through the skill trees, I personally don't think there's going to be any crazy zany stuff, but I think it's enough to get me through. If that makes any sense,
Yeah, I
like
heard the skill trees are pretty basic. Mostly
yeah, it is.
percentage upgrades and things like that, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is. Like it's percentage upgrades. You can do different builds with those percentage upgrades. Like if you want to do like a stealth build or anything like that, you can do
Mhm.
that. But the game is primarily an RPG as far as like dialogue. There's a
Mhm.
ton of dialogue and stuff you can do, depending on what you do and stuff like that. But as far as like actual playing the game, um, there have been certain instances where I just talk my way out of fights, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean
So
that's a good that's something that was common to those old like 90s CRPGs like Baldur's Gate and stuff,
yeah,
where there were a lot of ways to navigate a combat encounter, and sometimes that was completely avoiding combat through dialogue, you know.
yeah,
And I think that if you're gonna make a game where choices are quote choices matter, that always needs to be an option. That
yeah,
you I don't think you can make a game and make it so that you can't. You always have to fight. Like that would be terrible. That's not a it's not a good choice based game. If that's the
yeah.
case. So that sounds good. I did get this game for Christmas. Somebody got it for me as a gift. But I just not feeling it. Like I don't know. I'm just gonna wait. So I own it now, so I don't even have to buy it, which is nice. But
Okay,
um, you know, given that, I'm just gonna wait till they have more patches, and it sounds like the game's better. So because yeah, I got it on PS4, so obviously I can play it on PS5, but I've heard even that version still got some problems. So
yeah.
yeah. So what else you playing?
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I've been playing League of Legends, and I got back into Apex Legends. I've been doing some solos. I actually won one game
Mhm.
with a bunch of random. So yeah,
Hmm,
day before yesterday. So I mean, I'm trying to get better so I can catch up with you guys. Um, but yeah, I actually forgot how much I love this game. So
dude, it's so good, isn't it?
yeah,
Man,
yeah,
this is
it
why
is
it's my
really good.
multiplayer game because I mean, it's just fucking fun, dude. Like, I don't know, there's no way around it. Like, I don't like I do there are periods of time where I don't play, and that's definitely happened recently. Like I hadn't played for like 3 weeks until I got on what was it, Friday, I think, is when we started playing again. And, but I miss the game, but then I come back and I'm like, man, it's just like I don't know, I get like re-addicted to it, because we're talking about playing the game after we're done recording here, and I honestly I might join you guys. I don't know. Like it's just I don't know. The game's just so good, dude. It's like it just the gameplay is so smooth and fluid, And I
Yeah,
think it's hard to really tell somebody how like impactful that is to the enjoyment of a game until you actually play it, like yourself.
yeah,
Like you said, you were talking about like Destiny, right? Like looks good and feels good to play, and it's like yeah, it does. But if you haven't played a shooter like that, you don't really know what it's like until you
yeah,
play a shooter like that. And Apex is kind of in that category for me too.
yeah. It is definitely and I think this made it turn off a lot of people, and it was one of the reasons we were hesitant to get into it. Was the kind of it's not a whole cartoony look, but it's like it has a cartoonish look to it. And then it has the whole Legends thing, which is pretty much like a League of Legends Champions type deal that
Yeah.
has powers slash Overwatch deal going on there. But so far, I mean, there may be a couple powers that break the game, but not in a way that like just it's so fucking unbearable. But it's like uh I don't really think they did a really good job at balancing all these heroes. And on top of that, one thing that I like that Overwatch was kind of doing, they got into the habit of doing, and especially League of Legends, holy shit. They don't have like 20 billion fucking heroes. They have like I think 16 now at this point.
In Apex,
Um,
yeah, something like that.
yeah, and like all of them are balanced to a degree, so far what I'm saying. I mean, obviously you can use powers once you learn how to use that legend better. You can use powers beyond their means or whatever the fuck. But I
Mhm.
mean, I enjoy the game. I think it's one of the top tier battle royale shooters. I know a lot of people like Call of Duty. I just the thing with Call of Duty is the loadouts. You get a loadout. Well, you don't get a loadout per se, but like it just doesn't feel like an actual battle royale. Like there are weapons on the ground, but like you can call in like a fucking care package and then get your loadout. Like it costs next to nothing to get that loadout. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah.
um you're essentially going into battle royale with your loadout. Like, yeah, you start out with a pistol or whatever, and then you pick up a weapon. But then once you get to the first little call station, then
Mhm.
you have your loadout that you want that you made in the menu before. So that's
And
why
it
I
kind
don't
of
think
defeats the purpose of it, right?
exactly. Like I wanted Call of Duty to be PUBG, but Call of Duty, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's its own thing, and a lot of people apparently like it. So I mean, more power to them.
Yeah. Dude, looting is part of battle royale to me, and
Yeah,
if you like, you can mitigate how big of an impact it has, and I think Apex has done that somewhat because you drop with an Evo shield on already. It's at level 0 and you have no armor, but if you find a weapon and you hit people, your armor will level up very quickly. So I like that element. That change was great. I liked that they changed that all armor was Evo armor. They did that a couple seasons ago, and that change like wasn't divisive at all. Everybody was into it, and it makes sense because the game is about aggression,
yeah,
being aggressive and attacking people. That's the game, and Evo armor rewards you for being aggressive. Like if you don't fight anybody and you try hard like a little bitch, hide in corners, avoid combat as much as you can, well, guess what, you're going into the final confrontation with white armor, unless you're like
yeah,
super lucky and found a purple, so I think they just get that part of it right, and the game is just kinetic and very very fast paced. The games only take 20 minutes even if you make it all the way to the end, and I love that.
yep, yep.
So
Whereas with PUBG and even Call of Duty to the extent, I feel like the games are a little
mhm.
bit longer. Um, They just well, Call of Duty kinda gets it, but PUBG, they just don't get it. I mean, obviously their player base is falling, so you have to try to get something, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Apex Legends, like it's that good mix between like PUBG and Fortnite, I guess I can compare it to, but like it's not as zany and wacky as fucking Fortnite is, if that makes any sense. It's just like a really
Yeah,
good game. So I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah, and they get the balance of looting to combat right because you honestly you will never get better loot than you will by killing another team. Like it's just and that's the best way for a battle royale to be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you can run around for 20 minutes and just find the perfect loadout and you don't have to fight anybody, that's boring, dude. That turns into PUBG, you know?
Yeah.
Um, which is funny to say that because when we were playing that game, we would always complain about how bad the loot was, but it's like, in retrospect, is really not that bad compared to Apex at times. Like we were running in, we wouldn't fight anybody, and we would just keep looting all game, loot, loot, loot until we had perfect loadouts, and we'd still lose at the end because we sucked at the game. But whereas with Apex, it's like we fight a lot more and we want to fight. Like we hear gunfire and we run towards it. Most of the time. So I don't know. It's just more my speed of shooter, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
I like the game a lot. So, okay. I've actually been playing quite a lot.
Yeah. I
Apex,
see.
obviously. I have been playing Genshin Impact. They released a new patch on Christmas week that actually came with a new small area. It's like a mountain, basically, between Liyue and Mondstadt. And it's really cool. It was a really cool area. I'm pretty much done with it now at this point. I think I have like 10% of the exploration left to do on it, but it was a really refreshing breath of fresh air for the game because we got nothing new like that in 2 months since the game had come out. Well, actually 3 months technically, because the 1.1 patch added story quests, but it didn't add any new like areas or anything like that. So it was
Yeah.
kind of nice to get back to the old flow of the game where you're running around and just like finding chests and sealies and doing quests and stuff. Like it was kind of cool to get back to that. So it was a very nice update. I'm really looking forward to the next big area, which is Inazuma. That's supposedly coming in a few months. So that's going to be really fun when that comes out. But so I started and finished Demon Souls on PS5, and this game is weird. um, I knew I'm pretty sure you told me that the game was like is very different from everything else, even Dark Souls, even the early
Yeah.
Dark Souls games. Um, it's a really fun game, but the difficulty of this game, I know I'm gonna sound like a fucking like oh I'm so good at
Journalist.
video games,
Oh,
but
okay.
this game is just not that hard. Like it's not, dude. I don't know, and I mean part of it is probably because of the way I played the game. Because I did a lot. I think I did about 5 or 6 bosses before I unlocked the area that I was trying to farm materials to upgrade my weapon that I was using for my build because I was doing a dex build and I was using an Uchi Katana. And you can unlock the way the game is once you do the first boss, you unlock all the other areas in the game, so you can go anywhere you want, basically.
Okay.
Now, each area has 3 bosses, and you have to defeat the first boss before you get the second area, which then is the second boss, and the third area, which leads to the third boss, right?
Yeah.
But you're still open to do it in any order you want. So the way it ends up working is you can kind of grind your end game gear really early in the game. And that's kind of what I chose to do, what I ended up choosing to do. And unfortunately, I chose a build that has stuff that is really hard to obtain. It has
So
like
were
it
you
has like
like
a
one
1%
shotting
drop
people?
rate. Yeah, I was farming for hours, and
Oh
it
my
ended up
god.
turning into a thing where I like kind of I probably over leveled for
I
sure.
think you did.
No, I mean I over leveled, but the thing is, the way the game is, you have to grind anyways. Like the way the game plays, it's just like you're gonna run into bosses that you're gonna hit a point where progress is stopped because your character is too weak to fight the boss you're trying to kill. And
Mm,
the game
okay.
is small. It's not a large game. The areas are really short. Like
Yep.
they maybe take an hour to get through. Even on like a fresh run, they might take an hour. Like getting from the beginning of an area to the first boss might take an hour at most of them. And even if you're fully exploring, trying to find everything. So it's just like you're not naturally going to gain enough souls to get enough experience to level up the way you need to. Now, obviously, there's tryhards that play the game with 0 level ups and all that shit. You know, whatever. I
Yeah,
was playing
yeah,
normally, so and most people are going to play normally, right? So obviously, the game's probably really hard if you don't level up at all. But it's like the way the game is designed and like lets you play, it's actually pretty easy because once I maxed out my Uchigatana, dude, it was like, I mean, the bosses were just it was like stupid. Like they were just getting destroyed. Like I was barely even dodging, dude. I was just swinging. Like they were man, they were dying so fast. It was ridiculous. So, now obviously the later bosses were a little bit more difficult. They definitely took some a little bit more skill and thought to it. But overall, I'd say this game is weird. Weirdly, you can make it as easy as you want to make it, basically. Is my
okay,
point, which I like and dislike at the same time. I think I kind of prefer Sekiro style to this, personally, because Sekiro, it is like the game is so tightly wound, you can't out level content, you know? Like
yeah,
the game's as hard as it is at any given moment, and it's designed to be that hard, you know? Whereas with Demon Souls, the game's designed to be hard, but you can take it in any way you want, and as such can out level things or do things out of order. Like, dude, I actually did one of the hardest bosses first. At the beginning of the game, because that
okay,
was just the order I decided to go in. And it didn't take me that many tries to do. So I'd say even when I was on level, the game wasn't really that crazy challenging. The thing is, the bosses in this game, you can tell this is the first like Souls game
yeah,
because they like Blue Point did an excellent job with this remake, of bringing it up to today's standards, but they did not change very much of the game. They actually didn't change really anything beyond the way it looks, and as such, the bosses are really basic a lot of the time. They have like one or two mechanics that are important, and then a lot of it is really just watching their attack patterns and dodging at the right time.
yeah.
Um, and that, as such, some of the bosses are kind of boring. Like they're not like there's this like rock golem boss that you fight that's like so dumb, dude. It's like not even a hard fight. The thing swings so fucking slow. You can literally take half its health off before it even hits you
Oh
or
shit.
tries to hit you. Like it's just, I almost feel like it was trying. I think at the time it was like playing on that fear that players probably had, where they're like, oh, I don't know what this boss does. It's kind of scary. And then it's like, but once you realize how slow the thing swings, you can just fucking swing away. As long as you don't lose your stamina. So, um, I like the game a lot. I'd say there were a lot of standout bosses actually. I think the Flame Lurker is a really cool fight. I really liked the fight against the basically the final boss of the game, Demon King Alant, I think his name is, or something like that. That fight's really fucking cool. I actually kind of wish I could fight it again, because I only fought it once. I beat it on my first try.
Okay,
So I was like kind of disappointed because I was like, damn, man, that was a cool fight. I want to fight him again. But that one was pretty good. I'm trying to think of other ones. The Old Hero, that was a fun fight. The Storm King, that fight was fucking crazy. It's a really fun fight. The first time you do it though, trying to figure out what to do, what a pain in the ass, dude. Like, because you have to run into the level and get an item, and that's pretty much the only way to beat it. You can beat it normally, I think, but it's a pain in the ass.
okay,
They give you an item that like almost trivializes the boss, and that is kind of disappointing, I'd say. But so some of the game is like that too. I'd say too. And then I will say this game does hold one of the most disappointing bosses I've ever seen in a video game, though. Because I don't. Did you play this at all back in the day?
yeah, I played half of it. I didn't finish it though.
Okay. I don't know if the cinematic was there, but the one that the cinematic they show you when you start the game, where this giant dragon, that's like absolutely fucking massive, like the size of a mountain, basically, like is on top of a castle or whatever.
Yeah,
And that is one of the bosses in the game, and that has got to be one of the shittiest bosses I have ever seen in a video game. It was so upsetting when I actually got in there and started fighting it and like learned what I had to do. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not even fighting the damn thing, dude. It's just oh, it was so bad." So, if you play the game, you'll know what I mean. But I did really enjoy the game. I was planning on doing New Game Plus, but once I beat it, I kind of lost my desire to play it.
Okay.
So I may come back to this at some point, but definitely worth a pickup. I would honestly say though, wait till it's on sale in a few months. 50 or
Ye-
$40.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna use my gift card for it because I got a gift card for
Yeah,
PSN, but I think I'm just gonna use it for something else. Because I was debating on getting Demon Souls, but I'm like, dude, I don't know if I really like playing a Soulsborne game right now.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I mean, you've played Dark Souls, so this is like going backwards.
yeah, I
I'm not
played all
sure.
of
I'm
them.
not
So
sure this game's gonna hold up for you.
okay,
Um, I don't know. So I will say the aesthetic of the game, like the medieval fantasy of it, is way more appealing to me than Dark Souls. It's like this is right up my alley. You're literally fighting like humans a lot of the time, which is really cool. And it's just like medieval fantasy. They have a sword and a shield, and you have a sword and a shield, and it's like there obviously there's a lot of undead and demon enemies and stuff too, but
yeah.
they're not like Dark Souls where it's like this really dark gothic kind of aesthetic.
That's funny because I actually love that aesthetic, and that's why I love Dark Souls. So that's how
I
I
don't,
think that's funny how me and you are different in that aspect. Because I
man,
love
I
the
used to like it more, and I think it's been overdone. And I think Dark Souls is a big reason for that. But um, I've seen it in other media as well, though, a lot, and I'm just
actually,
I'm kind of over it at this point.
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
don't like it in other media. I only like it in Dark Souls. Like when other people try to do it, it's like, ugh, I guess
Yeah,
this is the drag we're going with today. But I mean,
right, right.
I don't know. When I was playing Dark Souls, like that world was just like super interesting to me. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, and the difficulty and everything, especially with Dark Souls when you're playing, you fight the technically the first boss, the bell tower gargoyle, and you're
Hmm.
fighting them, and then like another one fucking pops up, and then like I think yeah, two of
Hmm.
them pop up. You're just like, oh fucking shit, and I just love that shit. It's just
That
crazy.
happens with one of the bosses in this game. That's actually a good fight as well. I'm not gonna say the name of it, but yeah, that does happen in this game, and it is just like a what the fuck, kind of moment. So, yeah, they've done that in the past apparently, but yeah, I will say I've thought about maybe giving Dark Souls 3 another shot at some point because I'm assuming that's probably the best Dark Souls game.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, in my opinion, as far as mechanics and
mhm,
store level design, yeah, it is.
balance and stuff, I would guess
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it because we got Neo coming out soon. So,
Oh yeah, that's true.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Demon Souls kind of got me a little, like it kind of softened me up a little bit to that gameplay style. So yeah. Okay. I've been playing a couple other things. After I beat Demon Souls, I started Persona 5 Royal. Finally, after 4 years, nearly 4 years, I've decided to pick up and play Persona 5. And I started playing it and I'm like, man, why did it take me so long to play this game? I just, I feel like an idiot, but at the same time, I'm like kind of happy because I got out of the zeitgeist of it and I get to play the game in its final form with the
Yeah.
Royal version.
Yep.
So I'm not really that annoyed with myself. It's almost like an advantage to me. It feels like so. I've played. I don't know. I've gotten through the first month. I'd say, which is the first arc you go through takes you through the first month. So I beat the first palace already. Um,
So
and
as a you played Persona, like I didn't play Persona 3, but you've been
four,
playing Persona for a while, right?
4 is the first one I played. Four
4 is the
golden.
first one? Okay.
Yeah, I
Uh
didn't play the ones before that.
okay. I was gonna ask you how do you feel about it? Because I
Well, so I'm
actually
gonna get
love
to
that
that.
game.
I'm gonna get to that. But just to talk about this game specifically first, though, so it is excellent. The story is just as intriguing as Persona 4's was.
Yeah.
The game, they're really fucking good at making having a good story hook.
They are.
Because yeah, because at the beginning of the game, the first thing that happens is you get captured by the police. But it's like in the future, and at first I was disappointed. I was like, "Oh, come on. Why are you like kind of spoiling things for me, But as I played through the first month, I was like, you know what? I'm really interested to see how we get there. Like I really want to see what happens. So yeah, they've already kind of got me hooked on that front. I haven't played the game in a few days, but it's because I'm playing other stuff. So I'm not like I'm gonna get back to this for sure. But the game like scares me though because it's really addicting. Like the gameplay loop of once you finally get to the point, which it takes a while at this game
Oh
actually.
my
And this
god,
is
it
this
does.
is
Yeah,
one criticism I have is
yeah.
that the game doesn't let you fucking play it for like hours. It's literally just dragging you through this like giant tutorial for like 5 or 6 fucking hours. It feels like. And dude, by the time you have to get through the first like week and a half, I think, before you actually get control of your character and can like do whatever you want on any given day. And
Yeah.
it's like, like that was annoying the shit out of me as somebody that played Persona in the past, like Persona 4. I'm like, God, I just want to get to the point where I can like go to the movies or go fucking read a book or study or whatever. I want to do that dumb, mundane shit that, people watching people play Persona would be like, why do people find this fun? But it is. It just is. But it takes forever, and that's probably my biggest criticism so far is like they really don't let you get control of your character for a while. Like
Yes.
obviously you get to do stuff, but it's like the game's just shepherding you through and like you can't go anywhere. You're in the school and you can't leave the school. Like you're like you have like two things you can do and like the game's like telling you what to do. And I get it. It's a lot. The game has to teach the player a lot if they've never played a Persona game before, but it's too much. Like it was too much in this case. Because yeah, the first arc like ends really fast, and it's almost disappointing because the character in question that is involved with the palace, in the real world is very important in the school,
Yep.
and it's like that character's just taken out of commission so fast. It's like kind of disappointing almost because I actually think it would have been way more interesting for that character to be around longer, and influence things like further into the plot. But I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, there's that. In terms of the game in the gameplay, I mean, it's Persona, dude. Like it's the same. It's the same old Persona. And this is I think this is why this game has been put off from me for so long because Persona has a very particular fan base that is extremely, extremely passionate. And if we were more popular, I would be getting fucking reamed right now. I
Yeah,
know
you would,
people
because I
would
know
be
where you're
typing
going
out
with
their
this.
angry comments, but people fucking worship Persona 5. Like the people that love Persona 5 will not shut the fuck up about it. They need to tell everyone that it's better than every game they've ever played. It's better than any game that's ever going to come out ever. They're just so loud and obnoxious. And that's fine. You can love a game. I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I am like a self-proclaimed fanboy for Xenoblade Chronicles. But okay, there's a point though where you have to be self-aware, okay? Because playing this game, I'm not seeing it so far. It's excellent, but I'm not seeing what everyone's fucking raving about. I'm like, this is just Persona 4, but better, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
it
the point. That's the
and
point.
it's like they act like this game is like the second coming of Jesus, where it's like it's solving all of video games problems and it's like the perfect video game, and it's like not really, dude. It's Persona 4 but bigger and better, and it has better mechanics and to be honest, way flashier and way more stylish. And I think that's where people are getting wrapped up, is
Yeah,
that
I
this
think
game is
that's what
more
it is.
stylish than any other video game I probably ever played. But
Yes, I think it's the whole mood of Persona 5 that sets the tone, right?
yeah,
When I was playing it, and I played it recently. I should have put that on my list too. Actually just finished a Palace, and I forgot how wrapped up I can get into the game because I actually
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like I am Joker to
yeah.
a point where it's
You're
like,
supposed to.
yeah, to the point where I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go on a date. I like this doctor chick. She's very
Yeah.
fucking hot. Let's go for
Oh
it.
yeah, you're into
Yeah,
the doctor.
yeah, I'm into the doctor chick. She's
Oh
fucking
man,
hot.
she's weird, dude. You
Man, I
know,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
That's my type of
Mhm.
woman.
I
Um,
mean, she is pretty hot. Not gonna lie, man. I
that
mean,
dark
let's be
dark
honest.
gothic vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most of the characters in this game, actually, forget it, male, female, they're all hot.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone's hot.
The
It's
painter
just
guy is like he's hot. Yeah. The
yeah,
painter guy's pretty hot. I don't know if you
yeah,
got to him yet, but yeah. But the game just has a really good feel for it. You get wrapped up into it, and I actually feel like sometimes I'm a fucking kid in Tokyo and shit like
yeah,
that. And then even on the
yeah,
loading screens and stuff like that, I don't know if you read the loading screens, but they have like a little fake message board, like it's like Anon speaking. It's like, oh, Anon, look at this. The Phantom Troop or the Phantom, whatever their name is,
yeah.
Phantom
The
Troop.
Phantom Thieves, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The Phantom Thieves, they did this and they did that and all those stuff like that. So once you get really wrapped up into the game, your influence starts to take precedence over everything. But you'll figure that out as you go along. But
mhm,
yeah, I see why people can get wrapped up into the game, especially if you haven't played a Persona game. Um,
right, right.
and I think that's where this is coming from. I don't think it's Persona fans like you. I think it's Persona
I
fans.
think it's new fans, yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
No, I legitimately think so.
It's
I,
legitimately new fans. The battle music never gets old.
yeah.
Everything that you play in the game kind of never gets old.
Dude,
And
they made turn-based combat, turn-based JRPG combat, like Final Fantasy VII turn-based JRPG combat fucking fun, you know?
exactly.
Like they made that fun. I hate that kind of combat more than anything else in video games, okay? I fucking hate that style of combat and I can't get enough of it in this game. Why? Because it's deep. There's a lot of mechanics to it and it's stylish as fuck. The animations never get old. They never get old. The music's perfect. Everything about it's great. Okay, they nailed that shit. And I'm not taking anything away from the game on that front. It's just dude, the ravenous nature of the fan base is
Oh
just
no, yeah.
it's too much.
I got
Okay, it's too
upset
much.
with the fan base, like, cause I pretty much been ignoring them. Cause I mean I played Persona 4, but I played like maybe 2 or 3 hours of it. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
But this game technically is my fired Persona game. Like I play
yeah,
it through and through. So I get why people like it, and I get why people hate it because of the fan base. Because I didn't know the fan base was so ravenous until recently, actually.
yeah, yeah.
The world that ends with you, that showed a trailer of that, right? And they're in Shibuya Terminal. And if you play Persona 5, you're always in the Shibuya Terminal area. That's like one of the
Mhm,
main areas you go to once the game really opens up.
yeah.
And people are like, "Oh my god, this is taking the aesthetic of Persona 5. Persona 5 much? Oh my god. Oh, they just copying Persona 5, man. It's the greatest." I'm like, "No, this has been a
The
thing
game
for."
came out like 10 fucking years ago, dude. Like
So yeah, the new games come out. The newest one is coming out soon, and they showed a trailer of it and everything of that nature.
okay,
Of
yeah.
the world that ends with you too, and
Oh,
it
I
kind of
see.
has
Okay.
the aesthetics of
Yeah,
I
but
don't want to say the aesthetics of Persona 5, but it
yeah.
looks similar. The art style does look similar to Persona 5's art style, and people are just like, It looks like they're just copying Persona 5," and I'm like, bro, this has been the
God. Yeah,
aesthetic.
is Persona the first game to make Shibuya in a fucking game? Like, come on, guys, get the fuck, like, stop. Just that's my point. Because, dude, the reason I know this too, that what you said about a lot of people this being their first Persona game, the fact that I know this is true is because no one fucking talks about Persona 4 anymore. No one. Like, I never hear anyone talk about Persona 4
It had a
ever
huge cult
anywhere.
following. It had a
And
huge
it
cult
did.
following.
And it did. And honestly, the fan base of that game just as obnoxious because honestly, that was probably a lot of people's first Persona game too because it was on Vita. And because the like Persona 4, 3, and 2 and 1 were like 4 came out on the PS2, dude. Like it came out in like 2008 on the PS2, you know?
Yeah,
So these aren't games that were widely spread, you know? And I think Persona 4 Golden was the first time that Persona really got out into the mainstream in any real way, but it was still a minor game. It wasn't like a
yeah,
big deal. But that game had the same phenomenon, though, when I remember fan bases of podcasts that I listened to would literally badger the fucking hosts to play the game because they're like, oh, it's the best game on the fucking Vita. And it's like, dude, like, God, shut up. It's great. It's a good fucking game. It's a superb RPG, but like Jesus Christ. Like there's there's other games out there that, it's like they're just out of control. So it's even worse with Persona 5 though, because everybody played Persona 5. Like
Yeah,
everybody, and it
yeah.
actually hit games media when that game came out. And I remember how insufferable Twitter was when this game came out. I couldn't fucking stand it, dude.
Well,
It
this
was just
game it's fucking it's good and bad, but it's good for this reason.
Mhm.
Like the first boss you encounter covers a huge topic that's obviously still currently going on right
Right.
now, which is the
Yeah.
sexual harassment thing. And when that happened on Twitter, when people were like, "Oh my fucking god!"
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
That was around the Me Too time, wasn't it?
exactly. So this
Yeah.
game came out at the perfect time because
Yeah.
even myself, I was like, "Holy shit! Well, they're going there with this shit. They actually
Mhm.
did it."
Oh,
And
they
I
went
thought
all
they
the
did it.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did a good fucking job with it because I'm like, "Yo, this shit is real." Like,
Mhm.
and for it to be coming from a Japanese developer talking about like that, because you
Yep.
know how like what's the word I'm looking for? Like closed off they are to
Yeah.
talking about their issues. So for them
Mhm.
to actually talk about it, like that was just it was man that then when that clip came out, or not that clip, but when it started going around Twitter, like this is like one of the main bosses, like people who don't even play fucking video games like buying this game. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
it's fucking good. This is so fucking good. Oh, inject into my
Yeah.
fucking veins, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
like it was crazy, man. So like I think that's why Persona 5, I mean, all the stuff that you mentioned, yes, but I think it covers a lot of key issues. I know all the Persona games do this apparently, but a lot of people didn't know that. They
They
just
do.
thought it was regular fucking JRPG, like my girlfriend died and I have to go across the world and save the world. She turned out to be an
Nah, dude.
angel.
Persona 4, the whole game is about a murderer, and you're trying to figure out who it is. And you finally figure out who it is. And dude, like it's a great reveal. Like it was actually a really good fucking reveal. The game is great. Persona 4 is great. It's just as good. Like it like mechanically isn't as robust. Obviously doesn't look as good. The environments aren't as large. You don't have as many activities as you do in Persona 5. Thus, Persona 5 is probably the better game. But Persona 4 in its own right holds up and is still like a great game, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what annoys me about this whole conversation with this game is that it's like Persona 4 doesn't exist. It's because none of them played it. None of them played it. And I bet you Persona 3 is just as good. I bet you it is.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure 1 and 2 story wise is probably just as good as well. It's just
Yeah.
like I said, this is my persona, and I asked my friend who has played Persona, all the Persona games. He's like, "Yeah, this is like a common thing." I was like, "Yo, they went there, bro." He's like, "Yeah, did you play Persona 4?" And I'm like, "A little bit." He's like, "Yeah, they actually go into some deep shit in Persona 4 too." So
Yeah, and honestly, to me, the cast in Persona 4 so far, I actually like the cast in Persona 4 better than 5. To be honest, I don't like Ryuji that much. um,
he definitely grows on you. He's one of
he
those
does.
characters
He's
that,
already growing on me. He's definitely like I'm not saying he's a bad character. I just don't
yeah,
like him necessarily. It's just like Atlas is very good at character development in these games. They always have been. So you end up getting endeared to everyone no matter what, as long if you go deep enough into their like social links because like these people all have really deep backstories. It's kind of crazy actually. It's something that video games don't really do very well, and
yeah.
Persona just does it like fucking perfectly. So yeah, the game's really good. I'm gonna continue playing it. It's just I just needed to say that because Persona 4 exists, and I'm
I
sure there's some
understand.
Persona 3 fans out there who feel like that game's just been thrown to the side, but
Yeah, if
uh,
anyone's listening, I do recommend playing Persona 5. Like you actually text your friends in the game, like you have like the group
oh
chat
yeah,
and everything.
it's
Like
cool. You have
it's
a
you,
smartphone, yeah.
yeah, it's a fucking it's a good fucking game. Especially if you're like an older person and you're like, man, this is what high school would have felt like back if it was today, if I was going to high school
Yeah,
today. Like it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
fucking cool. So I like it
yeah.
for that aspect. But yeah.
Oh, the voice work, by the way,
Oh
fantastic.
yeah, even English. I
Um,
used English dub and it's fucking
yeah,
phenomenal.
it's
So
oh my god, dude, I can't believe how good the performances are. It's dude, they don't miss with these. They don't miss. Like Atlas doesn't miss. Straight up, Atlas, they don't miss. Like their games, the ones that they make, like their internal development studio, fucking incredible. Like Catherine was like this too. The
yeah.
voice work in that game was great. Persona 4, the voice work was great. So they've always been good with this, but in Persona 5 it's also extremely good. The music too. Holy fuck, dude. They went next level with the music. Because Persona 4's music is good. Like it's got an addictive quality to it, but
Yeah,
it pales in comparison to Persona 5. The
thank
soundtrack in
you.
this game is
It's
universal.
it's
Like,
fucking phenomenal. I thought
oh
I
my
was tripping, and I'm like, this. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Persona 4 is way better." I'm like, and I listen to Persona 4s, and it's really
yeah,
good. And
it's
I'm
good,
like,
but yeah,
uh,
it's
this
a little
one,
repetitive.
yeah, this one, I don't know, man. Like that battle music, even the theme music when you're just walking around, like
No,
everything fits, man.
yep. The music when you're just walking around, like the it's really it perfectly fits though, like the
Yeah.
tone and everything. And the music when you're going to steal the treasure, the night you go
Oh
to steal the
yeah,
treasure,
yeah.
it plays the whole time, even in battle, and it is so good. I just want to grind for hours because that theme is fucking amazing. So yeah, I just got to give a shout out to the music because video game music is not often lauded, and I think in Persona 5's case it is, but it is justifiably so because it is extremely good. And yeah, this game, highly recommend this game. If you like JRPGs and you like games that have deep stories, good character development, and you've not played Persona, you are doing yourself a disservice. This game is like it's like a sim game wrapped up in an RPG, wrapped up in a thriller, wrapped up in a dating sim. Like it's got all of that.
And I'll
And
be
there's
the
a
first person.
Pokemon like kind of collecting aspect to
Yeah,
it, like
I'll be the first person to admit I fucking hate dating sims and like games like this, but I unfortunately I got wrapped up into it. So yeah,
yeah,
take that for how you
yeah.
will.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed. So, yeah. So, Persona 5 Real, I'll have more thoughts on it as I play it more. On the last game I've been playing, I got back into Grim Dawn this
You're a
past
fucking
weekend.
degenerate. You're a degenerate.
Hey, man. Okay, Montrell. Let's be honest. I haven't played this game in a year. I think it was literally a year ago, like now, from the last time I played Grim Dawn. And they have added some stuff to the game that actually is fairly substantial, and they added a new item to the game for my primary build that's like perfect for my primary build, and I spent the weekend grinding for it, and I finally got it on Sunday, and motherfucker, it unlocks so much for me in that game with that specific character that I've been building for years, by the way.
Mhm.
I've had this character for like 4 years that I've been trying to like perfect, and this item was just like purposely made for my character basically. And dude, it is just like it's so fun now because I'm like getting new gear options that I actually legitimately might be able to put on, that I couldn't before. That made me worse, and I have made my character significantly better in the last like 3 days or 4 days. And I am now tackling the end game content that I never could. I beat Shattered Realm, which is so Shattered Realm is basically Krate's take on like the rifts from Diablo 3 that are
Okay.
like the super hard content in the game. Basically, it's an endless mode that gets harder and harder every floor you go down. And I had gotten to 65, and that's kind of but I had gotten to 65 in Elite, which is the second of three difficulties. Ultimate version of Shattered Realm 65 is fucking insanely hard and was kind of the benchmark for whether your character was actually truly good or not. And I could never beat that floor. And I finally did it yesterday. I beat it for the first time and it wasn't that hard. Like I was actually able to do it pretty without stopping too much. So I was like, man, I've actually made this character better, and there's still room for growth, which is what's super exciting about it. So yeah, man. Grim Dawn pulled me back in. I don't know what the fuck came over me, why I decided to just turn the game on, but I was like, you know what? I never grinded this weapon. I'm gonna go get it this weekend, and I just, I did, and now here I am. I'm playing it every night again. So, fucking Grim Dawn. I am a degenerate,
You
Montrell.
are. You are. It's okay. I
Shut
play
up.
League of Legends a lot, so it's okay.
Yeah, man. You fucking played League for like 3 weeks and nothing else. So shut up. I don't want to hear it. So okay, that's all I've been playing. All right, I know we're 54 minutes into the show, guys,
Yeah,
but
we're
there's
sorry.
a lot.
We haven't talked to you in like 3
It
weeks.
was
What are you
3 weeks.
fucking
3 weeks. I've been playing so many games, dude. I'm sorry. So this isn't normal, but we got to talk about this stuff. So, okay, let's get into the news. There's actually a decent amount to talk about, so we're gonna try to blast through this if we can. Now, literally the day we recorded our last episode before we left, the one that you guys heard last week, the sleeper hits. Uh, we had a huge development with Cyberpunk 2077, and I know we said this was the last time we were talking about this game 3 weeks ago, But unfortunately, this news is too big to ignore because this, as far as I know, this hasn't happened very often, and this is easily the most high-profile game that this has ever happened to. So, Cyberpunk 2077, we talked about it, had a lot of issues, didn't run well on PS4. People were very upset. They wanted refunds. CD Projekt directed people to go get refunds from Sony and Microsoft. Well, Sony and Microsoft didn't take that very well because Sony in particular, because Sony 3 weeks ago took the game off PSN and they released a statement explaining the situation. Basically, it's very short. In fact, I'm going to read it here. So, quote, SIE strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PlayStation Store. SIE will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store until further notice. Once we have confirmed that you purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PlayStation Store, we will begin processing your refund. Please note that completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. End quote. So yeah, this is crazy. They took the game off PSN, and as far as I know, the game's not back on there. I'm gonna go check right now, but
I don't think it is. But yeah, let me check right now. I have it on my phone.
I mean, I have the website open. So no, it's gone. It's not there. So
Okay.
it's still not listed, and this is 3 weeks after the fact. So Microsoft did not follow suit. Their game, I'm pretty sure, is still listed on Xbox, unless something has happened that I didn't see. But they are also offering full refunds, and Best Buy also got into this game and were offering refunds for about 3 days. They're not anymore, but you could return your physical copy of the game for 3 days after Sony made this announcement. At Best Buy, which also, as far as I know, is like unprecedented. I don't remember a time where a physical game was returnable to a retailer unless it was broken, like literally, like you couldn't play the disc, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, Montrell, what do you? I mean, I know you were playing it and you said it's not that buggy to you, but like, how did this hit you a few weeks ago when you saw this?
First of all, I was really fucking upset because what the fuck? We just took our break from our podcast. So that was personal right there.
The timing was horrible.
But when I saw it, I remember my emotions. Like I was trying to call people to be like, "Yo," like I had a podcast to talk about it with, so I didn't have
Yeah,
you to talk
right.
about it with. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yo, this is crazy!" Like, and it still is crazy in my opinion that I don't even know when this happened. Like, I don't know when another game was taken off of PSN that was this controversial.
There were examples, but they're minor. It's usually licensing related
Yeah,
most
I
of the
remember
time that
that.
this
Like,
happens.
I know like
But yeah,
Scott's Pilgrim versus the World got taken off because of licensing
yeah,
issues. But just for a game being a game, like being a really a really bad game, or not bad game per se, but buggy game. Um, I don't know when this has happened. So I thought this was like really, I don't even know what the word is. Like I was just really overwhelmed by like how I was really, what I was overwhelmed by the amount of people defending this,
oh yeah, yeah,
defending Cyberpunk. That's what I was like, really like, bro, come on, and it was mainly to people's credit. It wasn't like console people. It was mainly like people playing on PC.
PC. It was the
And
PC.
and
Yeah.
I think this was the biggest. It wasn't necessarily the PSN. It was just the whole. Every time I looked at this article, the conversation around PC and console gaming, it came back that week. It was like really bad. I've never been so annoyed with PC players in my entire fucking life. Like
Mhm.
it was like Xbox got revealed 2013 bad. 'Cause I remember that's when people were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, just build you a PC."
Mhm.
Um, and I got really annoyed with that. So that's what I remember from this. And that's how I feel about it. Uh, now that I played the game, I didn't play it on the consoles, but I have been keeping up with my friends that did play it on consoles. So one of my friends who were playing on PS5, he still plays it. He's like, I can get through the glitches, and um, it has shut down on me 4 or 5 times. 6
Yeah. Did he
times.
say though it wasn't that bad?
Yeah, and he said it was that's not that bad. You know,
Funny,
one
man.
of my other friends, he's playing it on a PS4 still. He told me at the beginning of the game, like when we at the beginning of all the controversy in the game just came out for like a week. He was like, "Oh, it's not even that bad. Like I'm still playing it, whatever." And then he told me like a week after that, yeah, I returned the game, bro. I couldn't deal with it anymore. It just kept shutting
Wow.
down. Like,
Holy shit.
yeah, he said he couldn't deal with it anymore. So, um, that's where I'm at with this. It's just I think this is crazy. And now I think which is really weird, or not really weird, but I think my little stance on, not pre-ordering games is coming back because I see a lot of games coming out now, and people in the comments like, "How does it play? I didn't know how it plays. I'm not pre-ordering. I'm not pre-ordering it." Like the first game that came out that was like open for pre-orders was Mass Effect Trilogy remastered, and everyone was like, I'm not pre-ordering until the game comes out."
Right.
And
Yeah, and I
granted,
think
that's
a
a
lot of people would
remaster.
argue like, "Oh, they're old games getting remastered. It's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
big of a deal." Right? Well, guys, did you forget Master Chief Collection came out this generation? And that was a collection of old games getting remastered, and that
I
game is a
completely forgot
fucking
about that.
disaster. Complete fucking disaster. So it can, and then Warcraft 3 Reforged,
Oh yeah,
Like,
yep.
yeah, so look, it doesn't matter what the game is, it can be a broken mess at launch. It doesn't matter what it is. So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
I
don't
think
pre-order.
I'm kind of glad this happened and mad that it happened. I'm mad that it happened because the developers worked really hard on this. This is an
Yep.
upper management situation. This isn't a shot at the studio itself, like the workers, the
Yeah,
developers.
developers.
But
Right.
the upper management, I think this is a huge blow to them. And I'm kind of happy it happened to them because now I think other people around the industry will take note what happened to Cyberpunk. Two, I think the consumer wise, we we won't get hype. I don't think after Cyberpunk, there's gonna have to be another game like 5 years from now that's gonna have to get the level of hype that Cyberpunk has had. I don't think gamers are gonna do this anymore for a while, in my opinion. At least for the
Yeah.
next couple months or to a year. Like I don't think we're gonna get super hyped for a game, and we may get super hype, but I don't think we're going to pre-order a game. Like I know people are really hyped for Final Fantasy 16, and I am one of those people. But it's
Mhm.
like I need to see. I'm not pre-ordering shit. Like I'm about to buy the game outright, or I'm going to watch
Yeah.
reviews of it and whatever. Then I'm going to buy the game. I think this informed a lot of people who weren't informed about how bad video games can get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think this was deserved. I think CD Projekt's statement originally when they said, go to Sony and Microsoft for refunds was such a just bullshit, passing the buck kind of response to everything. Like to the point where I'm like, I can't believe this is the same company that was like, God, everything they've said, it just feels like horrible PR now. All the, oh, we're for gamers, all the no DRM stuff with GOG and everything they've said about, oh, we want our DLCs to be worth it, and all that shit. It just feels like bullshit now. And honestly, like I've never seen a company tank their reputation as fast as CD Projekt Red did that week. It's kind of fucking bonkers to me. And Sony has they have no reason to list this game, like back in the store until it's fixed. And I don't have a problem with them taking it down. It's their store; they can do whatever they want. I think the thing about it is that it does set a precedent, and I because a lot of people were bringing up other games and for good reason, like fucking Life of Black Tiger that was never taken off PSN, and that game's a piece of shit. And I think the thing is this game, I don't think is going to create a situation where Sony cares about quality necessarily of games when they decide whether they want to put them on their store or not. I don't think that's really what is going to happen here. I think this is a unique situation. Sony got pissed at CD Projekt for that statement, and then they probably got blasted with refund requests to a degree they have never seen before with any game.
Mhm.
And I think that literally caused them to do this because they didn't want to fucking deal with it. Like they probably don't have the manpower to deal with it, you know? Um, and that given that, I don't think we're gonna see games get denied on PSN in the future, if they're broken. Because the thing about this is this game went gold in October and then it got delayed, but it passed certification because I don't think certification really checks for this part of it. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds stupid that it doesn't check for bugs and like stability of the game. But the thing is, developers, and I think in this case CD Projekt, a lot of the time they're like, look, we know the game's in a bad state, we're going to fix it before launch. There will be a patch on day one that will fix all these problems. And Sony and Microsoft probably too take that and they're like, okay, fine, and they trust the developer and that's the end of it. Most of the time it's fine. But I think in this case it was so bad, combined with CD Projekt Red's statement, combined with the refunds and the outrage from fans. I think it just created this unique situation where Sony was like, fuck this, we're done taking the game off the store. We're not dealing with it. So it is an interesting situation. I was shocked when this happened. Like, oh, dude, I'm pretty sure I texted you. I texted my brother. I texted a few other people. I was like, what the hell is going on, dude? Like, this is wild. So it's crazy in retrospect, and this will go down in history as like an infamous moment in video game history, probably. I don't think people are going to forget this, but CD Projekt, unfortunately, I feel really bad for the developers because this game does look dope if it worked. It looks really cool and looks really fun, and everything I've heard about it is that is the case. But they're just going to be working like crazy to fix this game now, and it's because their management pushed the game out. It's just unbelievable how irresponsible CD Projekt was with this game. I can't believe that they went around marketing this game for PS4 and Xbox One, and they never told anybody what state it was in. They literally like lied. Like, I remember there was an article before the game came out where the CEO was like, "Oh yeah, they're running surprisingly well on last generation consoles." And I remember that being a red flag in my head. Like, wait, what? Surprisingly well? Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, huh? So, and I mean, we called this pre-launch. Like, dude, we told everybody, like, I don't know about this, guys. Like, I'm really concerned about this game.
It was just
And
it was just, yeah, like you said, the wording, everything was just really weird
yeah,
surrounding
they
the
were being
game,
so
man.
weird about everything pre-launch, and it was because they were lying. Like, they were trying to hide it. And they did hide it, and I mean, I don't know,
And I
dude.
read an article saying that the developers were like not screaming, but they were pretty much like begging for like more time because they knew what was coming,
Yeah.
and
Y yeah.
it's just
And it
really
makes me
bad.
wonder because CD Projekt self-published this game, which they've not done in the past. Witcher 3 was published by WB in the United States, and I think they had a publisher in Europe as well.
Okay.
Um, and this is their first time doing this, and it kind of makes me wonder if they maybe got in over their head and they might have been financially in trouble before this game came out, which is why they just would not push it anymore because they literally needed the money, kind of thing. So I don't. That's speculation on my part, but I don't know. Given everything, it makes sense. I mean, why would you do this in this way, so desperately, if you were fine financially? Like you're, it's just, it's too sketchy. There's too much sketchiness going on there. So I don't know. I mean, CD Projekt's in a hole. They're gonna have to dig themselves out of it for years now. I don't think anyone's going to trust them anymore. I don't care if they announce Witcher 4. Like, I'm not going to be excited about that game either. Like, they're going to have to prove it with the actual game. So we'll see. It is an unfortunate situation. So, all right, let's move on to another unfortunate situation. This one's much more minor, though. This is something that Ubisoft has done in the past. So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out in November, and along with that, there were, as far as I know, I don't know if there were microtransactions in the game, but there specifically were not XP boosters. Ubisoft added those. I mean, it's been about 3 weeks since they added them, but they added XP boosters to Assassin's Creed Valhalla microtransactions, which, if you remember, famously were in Assassin's Creed Odyssey at launch, and people were very upset about that. It was a very controversial topic at the time. So, what does Ubisoft do? They're like, oh, we'll wait till everyone buys the game, reviewers have reviewed the game, and then we'll just throw the XP boosters in, a month after launch. So, I mean, Montrell, how does this strike you? Is this, man, you want to talk about sketchy?
I mean, it's Ubisoft.
Yeah, right. I know. I know, but why did they get away with this? You know, this
Because they
feels like
already
something. Yeah, go ahead.
they already passed the reviews. I mean, I haven't heard anything about this game, so it's like I don't really care about the game, and a lot of people like me don't really care about the game. Like they haven't. It's
Yeah,
not that it's a bad game, but like I'm probably gonna buy it when it's on sale or some shit like that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's the past initial reviews, so it's like you can't even get a game that you well researched and you bought it, and then they add something
yeah.
else into the game. So it's like
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess anything to get your money up, man. I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
I
but
feel
dude,
about
it's
it.
like I don't want this to become a trend that publishers use because it's manipulative in the same way CD Projekt was manipulative, you know. Because like Activision did this with Crash Team Racing as well, where that game they added microtransactions to that game after launch, like a month after it came out, and it was after all the reviews were out, after the initial sales. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to make as much money as you can, but dude, how dishonest is that? Like, that's really horrible, dude. You know, like this kind of things. Like, I mean, obviously, you don't have to buy this stuff, and no one does, but at the same time, like, dude, don't say your game doesn't have microtransactions and then add them a month later. Clearly, you were planning to do this the whole time. This isn't something you came up with after launch and we're like, oh, 3 weeks later, we're going to launch SP fucking boosters. Like, no, you were planning to do this from the jump. And it's clearly intentional, you know. It's like you're trying to avoid reviewers blasting you for that and docking the game score. It's just it's manipulative to a degree that is like I don't know what we as gamers do about it. You know, I mean, shit, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it because it, like going this goes further than not pre-ordering, right? It's like you almost like can't play the game for a while and just, you know, it's like no one's doing that. No one's going to do that and I'm not going to tell you to do that.
Yeah,
So,
that's
it's
it's a very unrealistic expectation to have for a consumer.
right.
Um, yeah, I don't know where we go from there. Like, it is very scummy, but it's like at the end of the day, what can you do? It's like their product. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it's
So
really just call them out for it, I guess.
yeah, but how?
Not like they're going to care.
Yeah, like you can call like I don't care if every in person in the industry is like, oh my god, Ubisoft, what the fuck? Like people are gonna still do it because other people are gonna buy it. Like I
I
don't.
think if I was a reviewer though, I think it would be something that I would call out if I played their games. I would be like, look, they've done this in the past. I don't know. Like, there's no microtransactions right now, but I don't trust them. So,
Yeah, what people can do is now you can go back and edit YouTube videos and you can edit articles. People do
yeah,
usually do that, like, hey, update, whatever. I think maybe scores should be ongoing. Like, yeah, I gave it a 9, but now it added this feature into it, so that kind of dropped it's like an 8.5 or whatever the fuck. So I mean, I think that's beholden to the reviewers to do that. I mean, we
yeah.
look to them for this kind of content and stuff like that. So it is their job to do stuff like this, and maybe they should start doing stuff like this.
Well, yeah, because I'm thinking about like, okay, think about a situation like Shadow of War, right? You know, the Lord of the Rings game that came out few years ago that had the loot boxes in it, right? And the game was like designed like post campaign to be extremely grindy, you know, to like make you buy the loot boxes or whatever. What how would it like how scummy would it be if the game had come out, right? And it felt that grindy post campaign and then everyone's complaining about that or whatever, and then they release these loot boxes afterwards that make the grind less, you know. And it I don't know if Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like this with EXP, but like how shitty would that feel as a player, right? Like they intentionally designed this game to be a certain way, and then you release loot boxes on top of it or microtransactions on top of it to alleviate that intentional design that is making the game super grindy. It's like I don't know. I mean, Jesus, it's hard for me to be super critical of these games because I realize that there is a hypocrisy in what I'm saying, given that I play Genshin Impact and I've put money into that game. So it's like I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing. It's like it's become a minefield. Gaming has kind of become a minefield with this stuff because I'm not against microtransactions, but at the same time, I do remember a simpler time when a game came out and it was just a game, you know, and
Yeah,
that was it. That was the end of it, and I kind of do miss that because yeah, navigating all this is becoming it's becoming difficult because you, on a personal level, whoever it is, I'm not talking about you
Yeah,
specifically,
yeah,
Marshall, but
yeah. I know
royal
what you
you.
mean.
You might play one game, where you're really into that game and you're not against spending some money on it. And now I will say Genshin Impact's free versus Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a premium game with a $70 upfront cost. So there's a little bit different conversation there with that. But on the same in the same breath though, Genshin Impact probably requires much more money to enjoy than $70. So there's that element to it. So,
Yeah,
but
it's like I don't know. Like free to play games, I give them a pass because they are free to play. You're
yeah,
essentially you can some games you
yeah,
can play the
mhm,
entire game without spending a dime, and
which
then
is
some
true.
games,
True in Genshin Impact.
yeah, and then some games you need to spend money to play it. And I guess it just depends on the free to play. I just have a real gripe with premium games and like microtransactions. If they're worth it,
Yeah.
then I'll do it. Like
Mhm.
I just remember like, yeah, I bought Mass Effect or whatever, 2 or whatever, and then they come
Yeah.
out a month, 2, 3 months later, they come out with this full-fledged 4-hour, 5-hour DLC that's worth my $20. Okay, cool. That's definitely worth my $20 or whatever the fuck,
Mhm.
and I spend that money. But now we're not even getting that. Like, when was the last time you had a DLC expansion on the game? Like The Witcher 3 maybe that added a lot of content to it?
I mean Borderlands 3, definitely.
Yeah, okay, that's a good example.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, there's other examples. Dark Souls 3 did it, didn't it?
Yeah,
Pretty
it
sure
did
that.
actually. It did. Yep.
Neo 2. They definitely have it. I mean, there's a lot of games that still do the DLC expansion packs. I just think I will say there is definitely influence coming from that gotcha market, though. I think game publishers are starting to take note of that, and they're not going to put it in every game, but if they could get away with it, they would. I think the thing about it is they're not going to get away with it, so they don't. They know the PR hit would be too large to bother. um, but games like Genshin Impact are kind of. I do fear that a game like that will normalize that kind of monetization model. Um, so I don't know. It's a it's a slippery slope with this stuff. I mean, this is obviously scummy. There's no other way to say it. Like, I mean, it is, but I don't know. I don't like what am I going to sit here and say though? Oh, Ubisoft, don't do it. Like, are they going to listen? No, of course not. So I don't know, man. It sucks. I hate microtransactions.
Yeah.
They're the worst. They are. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about something a little bit more exciting, shall we? So a couple weeks ago, um, there was some rumors flying around about a League of Legends MMO. Well, not rumors actually, because there is a Riot developer. His name is Greg Street, and he tweeted something, and confirmed that he is working on a new game for Riot, and it is an MMO. He literally said that it is an MMO to somebody as a reply to a comment. So he's pretty much confirmed that Riot's working on a League of Legends MMO. Montrell, does that excite you
Uh,
as a League fan?
yes. Because I've actually been asking for an MMO in this world for a while. I think they have a very robust like world, and they can build an MMO. Probably that can challenge WoW's MMO. To be honest, like their lore is very deep.
Yes, they definitely could.
Um, and I think they have some of the same talent, not some of the same talent, but that similar style of talent rather. Uh, like old Blizzard had. I feel like Riot kind of has that in them.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I look at. I kind of look at them as like the successors to the old Blizzard, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense. So I think they can pull it off. Um, I mean, MMOs are still big in the East, and I mean, League of Legends has a huge install base over here in the West anyway. And I think people are ready for like another big MMO besides Final Fantasy 14. So there's definitely
Yeah.
a market out there because I think Final Fantasy 14 has kind of exploited that market even further than World of Warcraft has because a lot of people love MMOs that are done. I don't want to say well, but like very user friendly, and I think League of Legends will kind of be that hardcore. If they can do it right, it can be that hardcore slash user friendly thing. Because I think Team Fight Tactics brought in a lot of people that didn't play League of Legends. One of my friends is one of those people. He hates the original game, but he loves Team Fight Tactics. So
Mhm.
I think they can do it.
Do you think it'll be free to play?
Ah, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe.
That is actually, you would think the answer is obviously yes, but the MMO RPG genre is very complicated with that
I was just gonna say
because
maybe. I don't like free to play MMOs. They're
it's
terrible.
one of the first genres to adopt free to play. Actually, it is the reason free to play is in gaming. Frankly, because I remember, I think it was Lord of the Rings Online is one of the first MMOs to ever dabble in the free to play space, and
Okay.
it basically kept that game alive. If it hadn't gone free to play, it wouldn't be going, and it's still going to this day. By the way, the game is still alive and active. So the MMO space is, it's interesting because I think it created a resurgence in the industry or in that genre in the early 2010s, and then it kind of died again because MMOs are now really niche games, but they're free to play, so they're able to be monetized differently, which means they can survive with a small player base in a way that a subscription game couldn't.
Yeah.
Um, and the only two subscription MMOs that are around that are still popular are Final Fantasy 14 and WoW. So I don't know. It's an interesting question
They
because if they
may
go free to play, that means there's going to be a cash shop. That means there's going to be all sorts of things in the game that could detract from the experience.
yeah.
Um, so
I mean, they could do a system like RuneScape. I know RuneScape isn't this grandioso MMO, but it is an MMO that a lot of people look over, and that MMO's been going on for fucking years. They have a
yeah,
subscription
20
model.
years.
Yeah, about 20.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know, bro. When I started playing that
more.
game,
I don't even know. Yeah, it might
I
even
was
be
like in
more.
the eighth grade and I played that game. And I was mind blown by that shit. Uh,
Yeah.
but uh, that is one of those games though that has a subscription model that unlocks like there's like a huge free to play area, and then there's a even bigger like subscription area. And that was like one of the only games I knew to do that type of deal.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, I remember all the free to play Korean MMOs that came out.
Oh
Actually,
god.
one of those games was Black Desert when the game
There's so
started.
many of them.
There's so many of them. Um, Terra was another one that was kind of free to play, but then it went subscription, then it went free to play. I can't remember the history of Terra.
Arcade was subscription, then
Yeah,
went free to play.
yeah,
There were a bunch of Asian ones that I don't remember the names of.
yeah.
There was one called, I think it was called Atlantica or something like that. It
Yep.
was this weird, like turn-based MMO, but it was an MMO, and that was free to play. I remember there was this isometric one that was a free to play. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really popular for like a hot minute. Um, and yeah, I mean, they were becoming a dime a dozen at a certain point. It was like
Yeah,
obnoxious,
and I
you
think
know.
that's why a lot of people got turned off by them because there were so many of them. I just remember,
Right.
and a lot of people, like you said, the early 2010s, a lot of people started building like home PCs were becoming better as far as hardware wise. So you didn't need like a super cool fucking PC to build. All you need is like a little $500 home computer, and your parents can do their thing, and then you can play like a regular free to play MMO on it. Um, so I think now though, what I think League of Legends is going to do though,
Yeah.
which a lot of people aren't really, and we didn't even touch on it until now, I guess. I think they're going to put it on consoles. I think Final
They
Fantasy is,
should. There's no reason not to.
yeah, Final Fantasy has paved the way in showing developers how to put. I'm surprised, honestly, in my honest opinion, I'm surprised WoW didn't have a console version so far. Like, I'm surprised. I'm dead
Yeah.
ass surprised because
Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is a wild success in my opinion on console. The
exactly,
gameplay is fucking great on console. Like it is my preferred way to play that game. When I was playing it last time I played it, was on PS4, and I was stunned at how well it played and how good it looked. Like it was, dude. It was like it looked like PC. Like it wasn't. It didn't lose any of the fidelity really. And control was worse, but it wasn't that much worse. It was like barely worse, you know.
yeah, yep,
And dude, it was just, I don't know. Like I actually just recently canceled my WoW subscription. That game didn't grab me, unfortunately. in the way I was hoping. So I'm like kind of thinking about just jumping back into Final Fantasy 14 and like experiencing that story that I never experienced. So yeah, I don't know. That game is really good. It's a really good game.
Yeah, so
We're-
I think honestly they need to follow that model of like, I mean, obviously do their own gameplay and everything of that nature, but um even the simple fact that they're putting their base game, even though it's not Summoner's Rift, this Wild Rift, of a variation of Summoner's Rift, on consoles like next year, I believe.
yeah.
Um
Well, this year.
yeah, this year, I'm sorry. Yeah, because I'm
Yeah,
still stuck in
2021,
2020.
Montrell.
Yeah.
Get with the fucking times, dude.
Yeah, they're putting it on consoles this year, and it's gonna be a playable fucking MOBA on your isometric MOBA on your fucking console.
Hmm.
And they have it on the cell phones as well, smartphones rather. So I wouldn't see any reason why they shouldn't put an MMO on console. I think this would be their way of breaking into console hardcore, even though they have that single player RPG coming out. I think that's another way they're trying to. I think they're just really trying to break into console. So it wouldn't be any reason why this wouldn't be on console, in my opinion. Maybe the first year they're like it's on PC only, and then they're gonna have like a console version.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the one IP too that can actually ape WoW's style and do it just as well.
Yeah.
You know, that like goofy, cartoony style that WoW does.
Yep.
I think League is perfect for that. You know, the characters fit that, the lore fits that, the style of the world, the art style all fit that. You know, so and having played Legends of Runeterra, like it it has that same like it's such a snark like the characters are so fucking snarky, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just like it has that same styling that World of Warcraft has at times. So I do think this game could be really successful. So hopefully we get an announcement this year. I doubt it though. I have a feeling this one's far out,
Yeah.
probably. So
I just want to say one more thing. Like I've ever since they did the rewrite of the world, I remember when they did it, maybe like a year, 2 years ago, I think. And then they released this huge thing on their website where it was like a huge globe, like a 3D globe, almost like a Google Earth type deal. It
yeah,
was called Israel's Adventures, and he's a like a fucking in the lore. The character is actually like a Tomb Raider of sorts. He collects different artifacts across the world, stuff like that. So he travels across the
yeah,
world, and it was like a Google Earth type deal of Runeterra, and I thought that was just so fuck because I got to see everything. Like, well, not everything as far as like, but just to see the geographic locations of how, oh, this is where Nautilus is from, and this is where Kindred is from. This is where Yaosu is from. This is their country and their land.
Bilgewater and
Yeah,
what other
Bilgewater and
fucking
all these.
areas
This
are
is Ionia and this is fucking
oh yeah,
Bilgewater.
Ionia.
Um, and this is fucking Noxus, and this is fucking Demacia, and you get to learn their lands through his eyes because you're going through his eyes or whatever. But you get to learn about certain things and everything of that nature. I just think that's really cool. Even though they release lore for every character and they tie it to other characters and things of that nature, even the items have lore and everything of that nature. It was just really cool to see an actual physical world um of Runeterra. And I'm at that time I'm like, why hasn't there been an MMO? But I mean, obviously they've been talking about it. So I think that was a part of their whole plan. And I think they're
Yeah,
actually, to their credit, I mean, they're carrying out this plan really well. I mean, because I mean, obviously you play team fight tactics. You got other people playing team fight tactics. You got people playing the Wild Rift on mobile. They got the MMO, the RPG. I'm sorry, the RPG coming out soon. So
the card game.
yeah, the card game. Uh, so I think they're ever since I got that that one little survey in my email, like, hey, would you like to see League of Legend characters on other? How would you feel if League of Legend characters were on other games? I was like, yeah, that's cool. I knew something right then and there was going to happen.
Yeah,
I was just like, yeah,
things were brewing.
yeah,
The gears were already turning.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say this. I almost, I, and this is never gonna happen, but I kind of wish they would make a League of Legends RTS.
Oh, that would be so fucking cool.
You know, in the vein of like Warcraft 3. You know, they could do it.
They can,
They totally could,
they could.
but I don't think they will. but it's an idea.
And it wouldn't cost any resources. Hell, you can even have it in the same client
Dude,
as
in the engine, that's what
y
I'm saying. You already have the engine, you
yeah.
have the fucking all you need to do is make buildings, models, and, you're gonna have to make new abilities and stuff for the units and things like that, but I don't think it would be that much of a effort, like, it wouldn't be a huge amount of effort for them, I think they could spin something up in a couple years probably.
You know what? That is
Um,
one genre I really want to come back. I want RTS
yeah,
to
and they
come
they
back.
would be the ones to do it, you know? I mean, MOBA is the cousin of the RTS, and it's the cousin that murdered the RTS, but
Yeah.
it's still the cousin. So, yeah, I don't know. That would be nice, man. I would be really interested in that. So, I'll be keeping a lookout for this, but I'm actually very interested in everything they're doing.
Yeah, they're making
With
some really cool
League
moves, man.
specific, but they're making a lot of yeah, they are making a lot of good moves. Like, I
Uh,
mean, we talked about this a while ago, right? I think it was like a year ago, wasn't it?
yeah, because they
Where
announced
we
that
said
fighting game.
they're like the Blizzard, they're trying to become Blizzard, and
Yeah.
this is just more in that vein. So makes sense. So we'll see. All right, let's move on. We got a few more stories. We've got a couple acquisitions that I kind of think are worth talking about here. So this happened a few weeks ago as well. EA has purchased Codemasters, the UK developer, and they are buying them for $1.2 billion. And the interesting part about this too is that 2K was actually slated to purchase Codemasters for $970 million, and EA upped the bid to $1.2 billion and bought them out from under them, basically. So this is significant in the sense that EA already has Need for Speed, and now has several other racing game IPs under their umbrella now, because Codemasters actually owned a lot. They have Dirt, Grid, the Formula One series, and Project Cars, who they acquired, the developer they acquired last year. So this is kind of a significant deal for EA. I think they're making moves here. They want to be the premier racing publisher, because the only real competition they're going to have is going to be Forza with Microsoft and Gran Turismo with Sony, both of which are exclusive to specific hardware. So Electronic Arts will have the multi-platform racing genre pretty much on lock for the most part. So I know neither of us are really racing game fans, Montreal, but I mean, this is kind of a big move, that
Yeah.
is interesting to talk about.
I kind of feel bad for racing game fans, to be honest with you, because I don't know what they're gonna do with these franchises now.
Yeah, true, true, true. I mean, it's not like they're dissolving Codemasters. They're still going to be there, I think, running these studios and everything like that. So I don't know if too much is going to change in the short term. It just depends on the day that Codemasters starts underperforming. That's when the EA executives show up at the door and they're like, "Hey, what the fuck? Why aren't you making us more money?" Kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
I mean that is a thing, but wow, Codemasters worth a lot though, a couple billion
yeah,
or
I mean, dude, like, okay, like, to put this in perspective, right? Like, Bethesda was purchased for $7 billion by Microsoft, and I believe that was a vast overpay. But put that in perspective, though. I mean, that's 1.2 billion for somebody like Codemasters. It's fucking insignificant, dude. Like, that a company like them is worth over
maybe
$1 billion.
their games are really good. I mean, I have played Dirt, Grid. Actually, I played all of these games and I loved all of them.
Mhm.
So I mean, their reputation definitely precedes them because I
Yeah,
legitimately like, especially Dirt and Grid. I particularly love those games. Um, and maybe they don't.
yeah,
Maybe they balance their budgets really well to where, you know, these games can sell a couple hundred, copies and they sustain like crazy. Really good.
mm,
So maybe that's why they're worth so much money. I mean, there aren't. And I guess we can't say all developers are bad with their money. So I,
yeah.
I am interested in seeing what's going to come out of this, though. Um, it would be really cool to hear Dennison's point of view on this because I know he plays a lot of these games.
That's true. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about this is that it makes me wonder what Need for Speed's gonna happen. What's gonna happen with Need for Speed, because I
Yeah.
believe they gave Need for Speed back to Criterion, um, with this most recent entry and the one that's being developed now, the
Okay.
next one. But given Codemasters' expertise in this realm, I don't know if Criterion drops the ball. It'd be interesting to see if one of these developers takes the next Need for Speed game potentially. So, because yeah, that's definitely not an IP that EA is going to kill
Oh
anytime
yeah,
soon.
anytime soon. But I
So
can see them kind of pitting them against each other.
yeah, 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 I could definitely. I mean, it is weird because yeah, you're like competing with yourself, right?
Yep. I think they're trying
Honestly,
to
so
like decide who to go with. So
right, true, true. Okay, well, that was interesting. Let's move on to the next one. Nintendo is also buying somebody. This is a much smaller deal, though. This is, something that we were talking about pre-show. I thought was already a thing, but apparently not. So, Next Level Games, they are a Canadian developer. They're actually the team that developed the most recent Luigi's Mansion game, Luigi's Mansion 3. But they've been a long time partner of Nintendo's. They developed the Super Mario Strikers games on GameCube and Wii, and they made the Wii iteration of Punch Out. Um, and I believe they made okay, so they did make a game that people didn't like, Metroid Prime Federation Force on the 3DS that came out in 2016. So not all their games are hits, but Nintendo's acquired the studio now. The money amount we don't actually know, but they are purchasing these guys, and it is interesting. I thought dude, like Super Mario Strikers, the one on the GameCube, was such a Nintendo game, and same with Luigi's Mansion 3. They're such like Nintendo games to me that I just thought they were internally developed. I had no idea that these were done by an external studio. So, it's kind of a credit to these guys that the games were that good that I thought they just were Nintendo already. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what much more to say about it. Montrell, you have any thoughts on it?
yeah, I didn't know that these people developed Mario Strikers, and
Yeah,
if you know, it's one of those Nintendo games that everyone hopes is gonna be somehow magically mentioned in the next
yeah.
fucking what
What
do
a
you call
game, by
it?
the way.
Direct. Yeah, like
Yeah, what
ev-
a game.
that game was fucking crazy, and
Yeah,
I don't even like soccer like that or football, if you want to call it that. Don't get offended.
football, football.
Football. Uh, but holy shit, Mario Strikers was really fucking
Strikers
good.
is fucking the one on the GameCube, dude, is so fucking good. Holy fuck. There was like 2 summers where in high school where me and my friends were just Nintendo obsessed. We would play Smash Brothers every day,
Yeah.
but we like decided to try Mario Strikers one day cuz we were bored, we had played too much Smash Bros. And we got fucking addicted to Strikers, dude. Like it was insane. We got to a point where we turned off the super moves and just played the game without like regular, like it was just a soccer game, like a street soccer game. And it was actually way more fun with the super moves turned off because the goalies in that game were actually really fucking good without the super moves. Like they would block everything and it was kind of nuts. But we got to the point where we understood the AI of them though, and we're able to manipulate them pretty hard. And dude, it was pretty crazy. We were nuts. We were scoring like 30 goals, in like a fucking 10-minute game. It was ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
so, the
and that's
game is super fun, man.
and that's the one I played as well, and I played the shit out of that game. Apparently the one that was on the Wii, that one's actually really good too, from what I hear. It
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
released on the Wii, and a lot of people
Put it on
didn't
the
play
way.
it. Yeah, so
Yeah, right.
unfortunately, so I think that's why Nintendo put that franchise on ice because how it performed on the Wii. But I just think that wasn't a very good indicative of what people think of that franchise. Nintendo right now was like, yo, next direct, Mario Strikers, guarantee you probably be the number one selling game on the Switch the first month.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely, dude. I would buy it. Are you kidding me? I'd probably buy it, man. Like, I like Strikers that much. Like, I like it more than Mario
Oh
Tennis,
yeah,
honestly.
and I didn't like Aces, but I love the other tennis games. But
Yeah, and I always liked Mario Tennis, but it just Strikers was something special. Like it was kind of its own thing. So these guys have some chops for sure.
yeah,
And Luigi's Mansions 3 was no slouch of a game. That was a pretty good game.
yeah, I
So
remember you liking that
um,
game. So
yeah, so this is a good acquisition for Nintendo. We'll see what comes out of their relationship next. So I'm sure they're working on something right now. So we'll see. All right, a couple more stories here to get through. Sony is discontinuing the PS4 Pro and all but one PS4 model in Japan only. So this was a recent announcement. They're going to be discontinuing the PS4 Pro. Every model of the PS4 except for the Slim, Black Slim, that is 500 gigabytes. Now, this is not This is not affecting any other territory besides Japan, so don't worry. You can still go out and buy PS4s, and PS4 Pros. Now, the thing is, though, the reason I put this on here is this is kind of a, I feel like indicative of what's to come here with Sony with the rest of their territories. I would not be surprised if this was happening here in the West as well in the coming months because the PS5 stock shortage is continuing here into the early parts of this year. And it is kind of nuts how hard it is to fucking find that console, dude. And like they're doing this so they can make more PS5s, which makes sense. It's a smart move, right? It's the hot thing. Everyone wants it. Plus, the PS4 Pro's retail price is as much as the digital version of the PS5, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
They
what the
never
fuck
reduced
is
the price.
up with that?
Dude, they never reduced the price. So it is what it is. So I think the Pro, I would be surprised if the Pro is just not just discontinued everywhere. So if you want a Pro, get one while you can because I don't think they're going to be around for very long, for much longer.
To
But
be honest
I
with
don't know
you,
why you'd want
yeah, I
one
was about to say the
if you can
PS5
get
is
a
backwards
PS5.
compatible. Yeah,
Right. So just get a PS5 if you can find one. But that's the problem though. Good luck finding one. It's going to be very difficult to find one probably. So, um, but yeah, man. I mean, the PS4 has been a very successful device for Sony. It's sold 100 and I think at last check like 115 million units, which is nuts. Something like that. So, I mean, do you think? Do you think we're how much longer do you think the PS4, like even just the slim one, will be produced?
if it's anything like the PS fucking two, probably the fucking 20 years. I don't know.
That one was unique though. I don't think that'll ever happen again.
Okay. I'll say another. I want to say okay. This is all dependent on if the vaccine rollouts go really well, which they're
Yeah.
not, by the way. But let's say they get better.
Uh,
Uh, if everything is halfway semi decent by summertime, I can see them discontinuing this next year, like beginning of
yeah.
next year. I can see them like cutting out.
This year, you mean 2021,
No, I
or do you mean 2022?
2022 January. I can see them coming
Okay.
out in like
I just gotta make sure. I gotta make sure,
okay,
dude. I gotta
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure.
I
Yeah.
can see
All
them
right.
2022. I can see them saying like no more PS4 Slim models in Japan. If everything goes well this year, how halfway semi decent because everything's the shit and people are still buying shit. So if everything goes halfway back to normalcy, I can see them discontinuing the PS4 by June. And as far as in the Western places,
Yeah.
um, if they at least sell around 40 million PS5s by like it's like the scalper price is going down and people are actually getting their hands on it and stuff like that.
Well, stocks
Yeah,
available, right?
stocks available and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see them saying like, yeah, no more regular PS4s in June. And then by the end of the year of 2021, they were like, no more PS4 Pros in America.
Mhm.
And then obviously in Japan, they're going to be gone completely. Um, but then I think by the end of next year, or not the end of next year, but the middle of next year, 2022, I can see them saying, yeah, no more PS4 Slims. Just buy a PS5. Like and they'll probably have a different model of the PS5 out by then, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think yeah, it'll be interesting to see how soon they do it because the sooner they do it, the more confident I think they are in the PS5. That will be interesting to see because if the PS5 is anywhere near close to the PS4 in terms of sales, year to year, I mean, I could see the discontinuation happening sooner because they want to produce more PS5s, right?
yeah.
Because those factories could be used for, making PS5s. So, it would, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to see, to monitor. I mean, like we've talked about before, Japan is not their premier territory anymore. They have long since been much more in North America in terms of where their priority is. So I do think it will be much longer before they discontinue them here, but it really depends on the PS5 sales and how much of a supply constraint they have. Because, dude, if we get to summer and you still can't find these things, like, I mean, so Sony their hand might be forced at that point. Like, they're gonna have to, like, not necessarily discontinue, but severely reduce their production of PS4s in order to get PS5s out there. Because eventually if the supply issues continue long enough, it could frustrate consumers to the point where they go buy an Xbox, or find some other solution, which Sony definitely doesn't want. So it's
Yeah,
in their interest to get more of them out there.
yeah, I think it's in their interest as well to um do something about these scalpers. I don't know what they can do. They need to work some way with the retailers because I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. Like people are like, well, they make money anyway, but in the long term, if you have, yeah, you sold over, let's say, I'm just throwing a number out there, you sold 10,000 fucking PS5s within a day, right? But
Yeah.
let's say 7,000 of those are in like various garages everywhere, some scalper of various scalpers, and they're not really
Mhm.
playing it. Like, first of all, your install base is not going to reflect that. Um, when
Well, you're
games,
gonna sell less games.
yeah, yeah, I was going to say that when games start flying off the shelves and stuff like that, when good games start coming out, you're like, wow, we sold over. I'm just throwing another random number out there. We sold over 50 million PS4s, but our install base for these games, our first party games, are only, I don't know, 10 million. Like that's like you're only making 20% of your install base on a mainline PS4 game, or even
Mhm.
less than that, maybe 5 million. You're like, what? Like that would be insane to me.
It'll hurt attach rates. I
Yeah,
don't know if it'll be that severe, but
yeah. And
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, but these are like the bottom lines that they look at, even if it's small like that. I think they will look at stuff like that and be like, well, we need to get a jump on this now. Like I
Yeah,
said,
and the solution to that problem, honestly, dude, the solution to the scalper thing is to just flood the market with supply. If you have enough supply where people can just walk into a store and buy one, then scalpers have no market, right?
yeah,
So it's like, I mean, obviously you don't want to overproduce, but at the same time, you kind of want to get enough out there that this isn't a problem anymore.
I
So
think we had
that's
enough
kind of my point
evidence.
about this is they
Yeah.
need to get rid of some manufacturing in order to free that up to make PS5s,
Yeah, I think they had enough evidence now. Both Xbox and PlayStation had enough evidence to see that, yeah, the economy is really bad, but people are still buying these consoles. And
Yeah. But they're ravenous for them too.
yeah, and people,
And we're about to talk about this, like, dude, like game sales, hardware and software are fucking booming.
oh yeah,
So
let's just get into it then.
yeah, I mean, like our last story for the day is MPD numbers for November. We never talked about these last month, dude. Like, I mean, I don't think this might be one of the best like months video games have ever had. I
Really?
mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would wager it's got to be close, dude. Compared to because the biggest comparison is going to be like the launch of PS4 and Xbox One in 2013, right?
Yeah.
Like, and to think that games were this big back then. I'm not sure about that, dude, because so total video game sales for November 2020 was $6.973 billion versus 5.162 billion in 2019. That is a 35% increase. And obviously, this is with a launch of two new consoles in this month, so obviously that's skewing the numbers a bit. But this is continuing a trend that's happened all year with coronavirus, where video game sales are just fucking booming, dude. And that is a huge increase. And then hardware, this is not as surprising, is hardware sales for November 2020, 1.415 billion versus 897 million. That is a 58% increase year over year. Then video game content, physical, digital, full games, DLC, microtransactions, subscriptions, basically everything like actually video game related. 5.244 billion versus 3.974 billion. That is a 32% increase. And then accessories, 314 million versus 291 million. I actually figured that number would be higher, but I don't know if that was taking pre-orders into account like before November. Because if it was, then none of the accessories for PS5 are fucking available anywhere, dude. Like, good luck. You need to be trolling Amazon or whatever the fuck, to get the headset, to get the controller. Freaking the charging dock for the PS5 controller, impossible to find. You can't find it anywhere. It's insane, dude. So yeah. And then year to date sales for 2020 versus 2019. So 44.468 billion compared to 36.422 billion. That is a 22% increase in sales year over year. Now that is crazy, dude. Like that is a massive growth for an industry that is like I don't like at this point. I feel like video games have been around for like 40 to 45 years. That is huge growth in 1 year for an industry that is kind of that old.
Yeah.
Um, and then video game hardware totals 3.957 billion versus 2.959 billion. That's a 34% increase year over year. Now, the crazy part about this is that over a third of those sales happened in November. Like, because it was 1.415 billion. That is over a third of the total for the year happened in November. So that tells you how popular the new consoles are in terms of selling. So video game content for the year, 38.439 billion versus 31.772 billion, 21% increase year over year. And then accessories, 2.071 billion versus 1.691 billion, 22% increase there as well. So the video game industry is booming, and no surprise, new generation. Of course, I expected November to be a big month, but it is a pretty big month in general. So, in terms of the top 20 games for November, not some huge surprises here, but we'll go through the full list. So, number one, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the game with 2 colons. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number 3, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 4, Madden NFL 21. Number 5, NBA 2K21. Number 6, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That's surprising. Number 7, Watch Dogs Legion. Number 8, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 9, FIFA 21. Number 10, Demon Souls. Number 11, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 12, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Number 13, Just Dance 2021. Number 14, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Number 15, Luigi's Mansion 3. Number 16, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Number 17, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 18, Marvel's Avengers. Wow. Number
Oh,
19,
really?
Mortal Kombat 11. And number 20, Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, we talk about Nintendo every month, but dude, just the 11 through what is that, 17 range, where they have 6 of the 7 games in that range. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Yeah, they're making a lot of money. This Switch is
Yeah,
really.
Mario Kart 8. Luigi's Mansion 3 is still charting? Like, what? Game came out a year and a half ago. Like, what? This is just stupid, dude. But anything on that list, though, jumping out to you besides Nintendo?
Besides Nintendo, Marvel's Avengers. I didn't think people would still buy
Yeah.
that.
Did that even chart in October?
It said it was 14.
Oh, it was. Okay. Yeah, it was 14. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, that one's surprising for sure. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit keeps charting.
Hey, I looked at that game, and it looks
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I don't.
I fucking hate you.
I
I
don't.
fucking
I
hate
don't
you.
think
You
I would.
motherfucker.
I don't think.
You fuck.
I don't think I would buy it as an adult.
You
I don't.
gave me so much shit when I put that on the news when it was fucking announced, dude. You gave me so much shit. Like, I don't give a shit about this game, Justin. Why is this in the fucking news? And here we are, 2021. Montrell's like, oh, that game looks kind of interesting. Oh, fucking no. Fuck that shit. Man, you
I watched
motherfucker, dude.
somebody play it. Right? No, fuck you.
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
somebody play it.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Keep fucking
the
groveling.
little fucking AR shit, that shit looks
Yeah.
cool because you got the little characters on your screen and
Oh
shit.
my
It
god!
looks-
I can't stand you right now. I cannot stand you right now. What a piece of shit! Oh my god, motherfucker! Anybody
listen,
listen to this show who listens weekly,
no,
you remember this? I know
no.
you
Listen,
remember
right? I did say that shit. I'm not even gonna fucking hold you.
this. Okay.
But if I was like 10 or 11, I would beg my parents to buy this shit for me because that
Yeah,
shit looks fucking
definitely,
cool. Now,
absolutely. Yeah,
I
I know. I probably would too.
yeah, now me as a grown person, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
And I know I hate this phrase for Nintendo fans, but you are definitely a man child if you buy this. Like it, there's no other reason to buy
I'm thinking of one specific person on Twitter, and I'm not gonna name him, but
this.
there's an influencer that I follow that was all over this, and he is the epitome of what I would consider a man child.
Yeah,
Like, and
and I hate that term, but bro, like, yeah, if you buy this, you're definitely a fucking man child. It's not for you. It's definitely designed for like kids who like RC cars, and I think it's a really cool way to implement
Yeah.
toys back into video games and stuff like that. Um, or you're a collector. Like, I can see a collector buying this, but, like, never playing it.
Yeah.
But, like, the YouTube channels I've been seeing, because I wanna see gameplay of it, these are grown ass men with, like, full big ass houses and shit, and I'm like, "Holy shit, like, okay, you really bought this and made a course out of your house." Like, they spend
I'm sure the bigger your house is, the more fun this is actually.
yeah, I saw people make insane shit, so, uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, one thing to call out here, I did say Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is number 1, right?
Mhm.
Well, the crazy part about that is it was the November's best-selling game and is instantly 2020's best-selling game. But the craziest part is that this is the 13th straight year that this game debuted as the number 1 game for its release month. 13 straight years.
Hey, man.
Even through everything, man. Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, all those shitty releases that people were talking about. Doesn't fucking matter. Call of Duty just keeps pushing on. When are people going to stop buying this series, man? When are they going to stop buying the series?
I think we have to accept that
It's never going to happen.
I come to grips with it. I'm just like, "Hey, man, like, if the series is good and the fans love it, I guess it would just never die." And you know what? I'm okay with that. It's not my game, but I'm
Mhm.
glad it's a game that's for the fans, and the fans love it, and I can't complain about it.
Yeah.
If I will say it to their credit, whenever the fans do complain about shit, it always changes the next year, and they
Yeah.
fix what's going on with it. It's not a Madden, if that makes any sense. Like,
Right.
they don't give a fuck about Madden at all. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't give a fuck about that game at all. Oh my god, it's so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Call of Duty, these are two different companies. But like Call of Duty, Activision gives a fuck about Call of Duty, and I would actually say I like that about, even though it's a milk. They're rehashing the franchise. Like, I think now they're just going through a cycle. They realize the cycle, um, and it works. Like, our kids are playing Call of Duty now. If we were to have kids at like 2021, 22, 23, um, a
Mhm.
couple of my friends, they have kids now, and their kids are playing Call of Duty now. They're playing Black Ops or whatever, and
Mm.
or their little cousins or whatever who were like 5 or 6 at the time, who were watching you, or your little brothers or whatever, sisters, cousins or whatever, watching you play Call of Duty when they weren't the age they can play it, but you're playing Modern Warfare or Call of Duty 4, you're playing Black
Yeah.
Ops, World of War. Now they're playing these games for the first time. Like, this is their version of Modern Warfare, or how it blew them away, how it blew us away. Like, this game blew them away, and Black Ops as well. So I think it's just going to be a recurring cycle. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another Advanced Warfare next year or some shit like that, or whatever the fuck. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know how long they can continue it though, before everyone starts to see like, all right, I think we're done with it. I think honestly, this is probably the last. I think in 2 or 3 years, people are gonna be like, all right, bro, like, what else can you do before it starts just getting crazy? It's gonna be one game where they just do some really crazy shit because they ran out of ideas, and people are like, all right, man, I think this is where I get off the train.
Yeah.
But that's not for another couple years.
Fair enough. One thing this VentureBeat article that we're looking at does mention is Miles Morales. So it was the third best selling game for the month, which is interesting because I mean it was a PlayStation exclusive, but they did call this out in relation to Demon Souls because Miles Morales was on both PS5 and PS4,
Mhm.
where Demon Souls was only on PS5, and Demon Souls was 10th versus Miles Morales third. Miles Morales vastly outsold this game. Now, Demon Souls is a lot more niche of a game in relation to Miles Morales, but it is worth noting that this game may have not done as well as it could have, given the fact that it was only on PS5. Now, I don't know that maybe Sony probably doesn't care. They probably knew it wasn't going to sell that much, but at the same time, it is interesting. It kind of indicates to me that like the fact that Horizon's multi-platform is not really a surprise. They want to maximize sales, and then I think God of War, Ragnarok is going to be similar. That game hasn't been confirmed for PS4, but I think it's going to be probably a PS4 and PS5 game. Um, it, that only makes sense given that it's coming out so soon too,
Yeah.
potentially after the last one. So I would expect that one to also be cross-platform too. So, okay, top 10 games for the year. Like I said, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is number 1. Number 2 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Fucking Christ,
Yeah.
dude. Number 3 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 4, Madden NFL 21. Number 5, Last of Us Part 2. Number 6, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 7, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number 8, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 9, Marvel's Avengers. And holding on at number 10, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Please, for the love of God, when we read the December MPD numbers in a week or two, please, just this game better not be 10 still.
Okay.
I will fucking,
Okay.
I'll be so upset.
Okay. All right. In defense of that game, when I played it on the Wii U with my friends, that shit was fun as fuck.
Yeah.
So I
Wait,
understand.
no. Isn't this the? No, I'm talking about this is the remake, isn't it, or the re-release of the 3 games, Galaxy, Sunshine, and
Oh, that's
64.
what that is. I thought it was Super Mario Brothers.
No. This is the
Oh,
re-release of those 3 games. No. This
okay.
isn't the
Okay.
Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe or whatever the hell.
Okay, that's what I thought this was. Never mind then. Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Yeah, that's the one you're thinking
yeah,
of.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
No, this is the re-release.
Oh, okay, yeah, fuck that game.
Yeah, no, this game better not be 10 next month, everybody. It better not be. But we'll see when we get there. Okay. Montrell, we are at the end of the line here. Is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I
Okay.
think it's gonna be a slow news cycle for the next month.
Well, given that we didn't talk about this pre-show, but I'm gonna float this out there to you. We did our game of the years, obviously, discussion for last year, but we didn't do an anticipated games for 2021 episode. That might be a good thing for next week. So we'll talk off mic and see if that's going to be the case, but that may be what you guys are getting next week. If there's not enough news to kind of carry us, we'll just bank it all up for 2 weeks and then, do a big news show again in a couple weeks. So we'll see. Cause I definitely want to talk about games coming up this year. I think that'd be a good discussion to have. So,
Okay.
so we'll see. Okay. So if you guys like the episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. We are looking to grow the audience. If you'd like to talk to either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is a number 4, not the word. He is currently rounding up Sith to murder them all on his Twitter feed. I am at Thundernuts01. I don't say anything on there, so maybe if I had people to interact with, I'd say more, but it is what it is. And the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one. All right, bye.